Well, people are definitely going to be giving them respect now because they crushed in the first day with 3 subs.
With 3 subs. Hopefully it stays that way. Welcome back, everyone. We heard Winterfox saying they believe their new roster is going to give them their best chance at long-term success. But you can't say they're hurting with their new substitutes, as Kobe just said. We'll see if they can keep the momentum rolling in our second match. That's Team Coast versus Winterfox.
Yep, Winterfox as a whole played incredibly well, and they gave us the most decisive win of the entire day yesterday. Pobelter in particular had a breakout game on Fizz. He benefited not only from shorter ace ganking mid, but also Glebe and Altec both bringing a lot of lane pressure as well. And you could say that Flares was playing like a man auditioning for the job in that top lane. Side note, I also did like his attitude. Not only were they winning, but Flares was laughing the entire time that they were winning. You can tell he's having a lot of fun out there.
It was awesome to watch. Definitely brought a healthy dose of swagger to get into their opponents' heads. And meanwhile, on the other side of the rift, Coast had a heartbreaking loss, if you're watching, to Dignitas that by all observers was theirs to lose.
Yeah, that one, from the beginning of the game, Coast actually had the upper hand, and they looked to be on their way towards a win. But they made the worst call from day one, and actually a contender for a worst call in the LCS ever. This is the decision to start that Baron while Dig just strolled right down mid lane into the base. And Coast did show a lot of strength in that early game.
Right.
They can actually build on that stuff today. They got first blood. They were ahead 3-1 in Dragons, and they were up in gold from 9 minutes in until the game actually ended. Even when they lost, they were still ahead in gold. They're very well aware of that mistake with the Baron too, so I don't think that it's going to be a worry for fans that they're going to do the same thing over again. Everybody's well aware. They know exactly.
You can easily not make that. We'll see if they can pull it together right here as we get into the game with a quick roster rundown. On the blue side, it will be Coast. That's Chris in the top lane, Impaler in the jungle, Jez is in mid, Mash stretching on AD carry, and a Sheep on support.
And on the red side, it's Winterfox. Up top is Flares. In the jungle, shorter Ace, mid Pobelter, AD carry Altec, and support Glebe.
So this might be kind of like where we can go for broke. We have nothing to lose for Winterfox, but what about the teams that play against them? They obviously have to play against this team now. You don't really know what to ban that much because these guys are subs. And then you have to realize that you'll actually be playing a different team next time you play them. So how do you take a team like Winterfox right now?
I think Coast mainly, they're looking to just end the game with solid calls. They really want to wipe that first game and first day out of people's memories.
Get the memory out of there.
Yeah, so they definitely want to make up for that first day. Whereas Winterfox, with all these subs, every one of them is super hyped up to be here now. They won their first game. So now they're actually kind of excited, and they want to make that 2-0.
Yeah, well, they definitely have the chance with the amount of power they have shown yesterday. Zed and Sivir being banned out, the Rek'Sai and the Gnar as well. We'll not see that Gnar this game. It's just too powerful. It's been in too many recent games and really controls quite a bit, especially if you combine it with the Jarvan that we've been seeing. One more ban here now to the side of Winterfox after Annie gets taken away.
Yep, they don't want to see any of that bottom lane coming up and ganking for mid again. Pobelter getting out of control. So they ban out both Sivir and Annie. They've left up a lot of stuff here, though. Janna in particular. There's also some strong top laners left with Lissandra Rumble.
Yeah.
A lot of options, a lot of directions that Winterfox could go in. Remember, yesterday, Flares was one of the guys who actually whipped out Renekton. A couple people using him recently did get a couple of those extra buffs to try and generate more rage when attacking champions.
He made it a more fun lane for watching Renekton, that's for sure.
He definitely did.
Insert BM here.
You gotta wonder, though, when facing that first pick Janna, you're just like, that's so much disengage right off the bat. Shorter Ace is always happy to be.
Oh, he's smiling.
These guys, by the way, these substitute players for Winterfox, this is the stage for them to really showcase their skills and get picked up for challenger teams or even LCS teams.
That's so true. You're in the limelight right now. Make it count. Shorter Ace has done so, and we're going to see some flashy plays from him this game. We'll see what he can do. We know Impaler also has a good Lee Sin, so that's a bit of a takeaway for him. We're going to get the LeBlanc. You were just saying they have a Janna, and both of these guys on dive-in could get blown away if that Monsoon's timed correctly.
Yeah, it looks like a very similar strategy this time around for Winterfox. They want an aggressive jungler, Shorter Ace. This used to be his most well-known champion, his favorite champion. Recently, he was even tweeting about how his Lee Sin mechanics have fallen a bit, and he was a little bit embarrassed. But he performed really well yesterday on Rengar, so I expect him to show up on Lee Sin as well. It is, of course, his favorite.
Very humble gentleman. Ready and raring to go. Now we're back on the side of Coast, and they waste no time picking in that Corki and that Aurelia. Something we've been seeing quite often to make sure they can go against the top lane they don't know yet. Aurelia's pretty much safe pick.
Yeah, she's great all around.
Yeah.
It's also a double Trinity Force pickup for these guys. So Team Coast, they're looking at a really strong power point when they hit double Trinity Force itemization with both of those champions. Back over to Winterfox. What do they want to supplement the pick power of LeBlanc? Pobelter plays a mean roaming LeBlanc. Not only does Pobelter try and control his lane opponent, but as soon as he gains that control, he starts roaming across the map, and he's going to gank, bottom lane. Probably look to secure control down there.
You still have Ahri up right now as well for Jets to get thrown in.
So, Nami Tristana has been a really popular duo, especially in LPL, in the Chinese leagues. And it's a really strong duo because Nami really does help Tristana
get through that phase.
Get through the power trough. And Tristana's still a beast in the late game. Nami also
got a win with it there.
Interesting. So a little bit more long-range poke. With the Corki locked in as your AD carry, if you get a mid laner like Xerath, your mid-game siege is ridiculous. So basically what they can do is siege up with Corki and Xerath poking the whole time, and if Winterfox go in for something, then they have Janna for disengage. So it looks like a pretty strong mid-game push here for Coast. They could knock down quite a few turrets if they line up. Plus locking in Jarvan does give them that early game pressure to try and get them to those Trinity Force combines.
Yeah.
So Tristana, this time around, when facing so much poke like that, we might even see her going for an early static Shiv. We've seen it a lot before. Sometimes people will get a BF sword or a pickaxe, depending on how much money they have, and then make the Shiv. We'll see what Outtech decides to go this time around. Renekton, once again, though, 4 flares, is one of the old bruisers that could beat up on Aurelia and really punish her early. But, with the popularity of Teleport and with an early game like Jarvan, see if he can actually make it happen this time around.
It's going to be kind of difficult for Winterfox to get in on Coast in any of these compositions.
Yeah, that's the benefits of locking in first pick Janna.
Well, they still decide to go with all the gap closures that they can to try to make this fight work. We will see Pobelter versus Jessus in the mid lane. Jessus misses any of those skills, and Pobelter will be all over him for the harass and punishment. So that could be pretty tough there. We may see Impaler trying to spend some time in that mid lane.
We may indeed. And if yesterday is any indication, then all members of Winterfox will probably be spending some time in that mid lane.
That would be true. One gank after the next. We see the coaches now being escorted off stage as they have given their final words to the teams. And some of those, as we talked to the coaches yesterday, have to do with, actually all throughout the game, what you should do in mid, what we're trying to do early and late. Sometimes they say, it's in your hands now.
Yeah,
and it's up to you.
They get a look at the enemy team comp, give them a little bit of advice on how to play that opening.
And remember to keep spamming your votes on Twitter by sending hashtag CSTWin or hashtag WFXWin. We'll update the poll throughout the game. And we are just about to get into that. Everybody's ready and raring to go for game number 2. Yeah, we're already into it here on day 2. A very fast sub-25-minute game coming in from Team Impulse over Dignitas to take a victory on game 1 of the day. Sorry for the spoilers, but thanks for watching. We're in game 2.
All right, so Chris definitely starting out with some extra armor as Renekton can easily beat up Aurelia early. That does mean that he will be lacking for mana early on because Aurelia very used to starting her Crystalline Flask, but does need the extra armor. So he will have to be a bit more conservative with his spells early on. And Flares is going to try and push that, control that top lane. And if Shorter Ace goes up there as well, they can win the 2 versus 2. A lot of battles here for deep jungle vision in the level 1 though.
Until minions spawn.
Let's see if Impaler tries to go for any level 2 gank we saw from Rush on Jarvan last time. He might not have that ability since we're starting on a different side. We'll see what they decide to do. 2 perfect wards placed. And Impaler is going to be known to be on top side.
Yeah, the big thing that they're really looking for is where the duo lane's going. Tristana snuck all the way into the bottom lane and placed this ward by the double golems. So whichever side Impaler starts out with or whichever side the duo starts out with, they will be alerted, and they can actually know if they can come stop a Gromp start or if they can stop a Krugs start. Looks like there will be no Krugs start here for Coast. And Winterfox saw them walk past it so that they know they are safe to start this Gromp. It looks like they're actually going to lease for shorter ace. In a rare occurrence in competitive play, they are not going to take a camp themselves and helping out the jungler. This should mean that they expect something from shorter ace within the first 3.5 minutes. Lee Sin is very capable of going 1 camp into double buffs for a gank with a pull. Let us see, though. Taking quite a bit of hits.
He's just a nice guy. They wanted to help him out, but no, he probably will be trying to go through something. After this, he's going to take a few hits. He's obviously trying to micro back and forth to dodge out on as many hits as he can, even if it be only a few.
Yeah. One of the things that I was actually quite sad about in the recent patch notes for junglers is the reduction in soft leashes from 10 to 5. Now, not a
kick it.
I'm really, yeah, well, not a lot of people took advantage of it, but you can take advantage of that even on melee champions. It's not just for ranged champions. Kiting them back to the edge of their soft leash range, you can get jungle monsters to cancel auto attacks. Now it's really dangerous to do that, though, because if you do it 5 times, then it heals fully. So even some melee champions take a little bit more damage on their first jungle clears nowadays. Lee Sin, though.
And how helpful is that? Do you find yourself being able to take a different camp or actually take a camp and then go into lane more than you would before?
Basically, what I used to be able to do with the 10 soft leashes, you can go double buffs and still be at full life after double buffs if you kite it back to the edge of the range and get it to cancel auto attacks.
Not so much.
Not so much. You can still pull it off pretty close now. Shorter race, though, as you can see, he will not have enough health. He also did the Raptor camp, so he's doing that extra clear. That extra camp that he does means that he will be able to get some wards on his first back.
We see that as well from Impaler, Pink Ward. Coming out as well with the potion. Let's just stay healthy in the lane. So we have pretty much even all around the map. A little bit of harass towards Jez's in the mid lane, but we would expect that from Coldbelter on the block. 16 or 21 to 14 there as he's still cleaning up some minions. Pings down towards the bottom lane. I think they're just saying, let's stay safe. We don't really know what the vision is up there.
It's pretty hard to gank that Tristana lane, especially with how far back in the lane they were right now. Very easy for that combo to play safe. And really, that's all they're looking to do right now is lane, get as much CS as possible, and Altec up to the point where he can actually fight.
Looking at Chris here on Aurelia today. 303 on Gnar yesterday. One of the guys that did not perish on the first day of the LCS. There's actually quite a bit, to be honest. I think there are like seven people that did not die yesterday.
7 people have still not died in the North American LCS so far. Because none of those people were on on TIP or big. That's
true. Logic. We use it. Gold, it's not too big of a discrepancy, rather. Just a few of these minions and camps that Shorter Ace has picked up. A little bit of pressure towards mid lane. That chain missing. Impaler's in a perfect spot. He actually connects the resonating strike to dodge out on the flag and drag. This is just going to be some extra added damage. Might slow down his jungle, but it won't take him out.
Yeah, Shorter Ace very happy. He got the second activation off in time. Coldbelter, though, just by himself, was putting a lot of pressure on Jez's. After the first back, going to pick up some defensive wards. Both sides of that river are warded for mid lane for Coast already. Coldbelter going to choose one side and hug it. Impaler is going to proc his Raptor thing, just walk right back into a counter game.
Oh, Shorter Ace. No mana on Nash. This could be a great turnaround. All the focus is going on to Gleave, and he's going to be able to kite it out. What a perfect read by Shorter Ace to stay towards the bottom side of the map.
Yeah. That was just a perfect counter gank. got into the bush just in time, and then both of the laners played that perfectly as well.
Yeah.
Altec started moving up, and sometimes Altec moving up into a gank might tip off Coast that there's somebody in the bush, but they already committed to it. So they're like, oh, you know what? We've got position. We're going to keep going for it. Glebe really is the one who turned that because he made sure that Jarvan committed in with the EQ, then landed his bubble right after. And it was the very close bubble to Nami. So good job by Glebe securing the kill, even at the cost of some extra HP. Make sure he lands the bubble. And first blood, Winterfox in that bottom lane to Tristana, the exact champion that Coast do not want to start getting ahead early.
Whenever we saw Altec getting going on EG, there was pretty much no stopping him. So an early game Triss getting going, it's going to be even rougher for them.
Yeah, not only is this Triss the champion that they want to scale up into late game, but she's also the champion that's going to provide a lot of their wave clear with explosive shot. More levels into explosive shot. Very, very good news for Winterfox.
And again, no way. He's got a tracking beacon right now on Impaler. Whoa, flares! Oh, go! What? No!
Well, not so much a tracking beacon.
They
Riv.
still went. No, I guess not.
More like both junglers had the exact same idea. I mean, usually when you have a top laner shoving up, top laner shoving up like that, and your jungler comes up into the side bush, you think that he's there just for a counter gank. But that dive was very, very poor. They committed to it, though. 100% commitment from Winterfox, and they both died for their efforts. This time, Impaler is the one able to come in just after the action starts. And so far, it's actually been whoever gets there after is the one who benefits.
Just goes to show you how fast it can swing for a jungler. Swinging 2 kills there. Already fixed up on the Warrior Enchant as well for his jungle item. So Impaler just got a big amount of damage, and they're already trying to control a little bit more than they had before. Now getting forward wards into the jungle. Winterfox, we're going to see pretty much the first time they have to react now and play adaptively to what Coast is going to bring to the table. Let's see if Coast now can hold the lead.
Let's see if they can. Now that Aurelia's got 2 assists off that, that's too bad she didn't get any of the kills.
Right.
But they're definitely going to be much more wary of diving her. Aurelia is already, because of her kit, one of the best champions at defending against dives because of that stun and her ability to dash around the minions. Now, flares,
Slice.
no flash.
That's it. Slice can't dice. Oh! He still had dice time, and they almost gave him his escape. Nice play, though. They knew they had the damage in the gap close.
Yeah, so one of the things you'll see from really experienced Renekton players is they use their slice when their lane opponent is right next to them.
Right.
So you're barely scratching the champion model. They don't actually have to be on the other side of you. But he does get the dice charge off of it and saves it for the Cataclysm gank. Meanwhile, his team tries to get the dragon in exchange for his life.
Oh, right of the arcane! Right to the face of shorter ace. 4-1 now. 9.5 minutes. Dragon does go over to them, so he was able to do some work before he went down.
Not only did they kill him, but during that entire time, Impaler, well aware that they were going for that dragon after his top lane gank, so easily moves down to the closest objective to him, the red buff. Ooh!
Altec is just eating every shot.
Level 6
he can
Corki.
Valkyrie forward safely right now. The only thing he has to worry about is a bubble. That's going to be a jumping out Altec. He's probably still going to got zeroed, but great play by Mash.
This is the point where Corki really dominates. Hit that level 6, so much poke with his ultimate. But Altec, because of the early start, he did go for the BF sword first instead of just having to grab pickaxe. So he does have a decent amount of flat AD. BF sword probably going to go into Shiv right after. We'll see how long he sits on this Avarice Blade, how greedy he actually is.
Raked in 4 extra gold. That's a lot, Almost to a potion. Now he's back to lane. He'll be able to clear this wave pretty easily with that BF sword. Now misses 1 on it, but not a problem. 77-87 in that lane. This is where he's going to close that gap, as now we have the other side backing Mash. Sheep doing a lot better this time in that bottom lane than they fared yesterday, so they're going to be able to provide the power in lane towards this mid game. Dragon just going down, so that won't be an objective for too long.
They're actually really doing a lot to set Chris up for success, too. Not only did they just go up there for another gank. Ooh. Chris knows that shorter ace is waiting there, and they're trying to bait him because they've got double wards. But yeah, not only did they spend time sending another gank up top, but they also had 2 pink wards in this side of the river, plus the extra greens that we just saw save his life. So a lot of attention being paid top lane for Coast right now. Looks like they really want to play off the back of this Aurelia, who's getting quite fed, and will be able to get her Trinity Force fairly soon. Taylor back up here as well.
Flair's playing this one quite smart, actually, making sure he's got his bar topped off so he can get some health back and actually do a little bit more damage.
Yeah, doing a good job playing safer now. He knows he is the target.
Oh, they are going to go. He throws on Dominus, but it's not going to be enough. Taking about 3 shots there. Chris able to get the upper hand with Impaler once again. And these guys are really bringing the ganks now to the top lane. Flair's is having trouble, so he can't provide any of that tank game later, any of that menacing Renekton. They're really cutting him down. Also, good showing from Pobelter here.
Yep, Flair's, having to try and go full tank this time around. Not able to go for the Tiamat path because he got so far behind with that ill-fated dive up top. Chris is going to be a monster, though. Costa really trying to play off of the Trinity Force spike. In the mid-game, she's amazing at snowballing once she gets that item. Can easily take out one of these squishier targets on Winterfox. So it's going to be up to Winterfox to try and control vision and get Pobelter to the point where he can pick somebody. Morellonomicon already completed, and he's already looking for the picks. Pulling some sneaky jukes into the back line.
Oh,
here.
Did he? I think he noticed.
He noticed
they were moving.
He saw the moving Krug.
Yeah.
Or actually, he's just...
Wow, they almost played that right onto him. That's the second one. He mimicked Distortion. That's all he's got. He does have a flash. He's going to have to use it. He already got the Summoner heal from Altec. That's the Tsunami coming out. A nice bubble's going to stop up Chris. Oh, he dashes the flash. Tries to get the kill. Pobelter answers back with the Ethereal Chain. And Nashmi can't hit the big one on that. It's going to be disengaged.
All right, so Winterfox need to make a really quick call to have Flair shove because their top laner is down bottom. Use the teleport. They need to work around where Chris is. Chris is the biggest point of power for Coast right now. So wherever Chris is on the map, Winterfox need to make a play elsewhere. So shove top lane as hard as you can. Try and get some damage on that turret. Make him lose out on some sort of minion advantage.
Make him pay.
Flair's is trying to do it, but as we said, he went full tank, so can't take it very quickly. Definitely doing his best, though. That's the thing in League. You don't always want to try and defend where your opponent is attacking, especially if they have the advantage on you. You need to move somewhere else on the map and just try and trade with them while you are weaker. As we just learned from the Dignitas game.
True stories. Minute and 15 on to Dragon. You can see that Winterfox is setting up the wards for this. Glebe will not be able to fully clear out the ward. Impaler's going to have his way with the vision.
Pink on mid.
Oh. Yeah. That's shorter ace not really being able to participate in Dragon too well now. Very nicely done by Jezus to catch that. Just waltzing across mid lane. You got to respect your position in the game, especially when there's a Xerath taking advantage of that little misplay.
Yeah, Jez is doing all that he needs to, farming up in the mid lane. Chunking down the junglers is actually quite large for them. Sending shorter ace back to base when almost all his camps are up. Definitely going to take away some of the income here for Winterfox and allow Chris the freedom to ward up for himself. So not only the rest of the team spend a lot of time top, but now they've bought him time to ensure that the red side jungle will be an early warning system for them.
You saw that ward there as you're talking about. Both teams kind of the same idea. Coast wants to get the deep ones in. Winterfox knows that Coast is at that aggressive point. Well, they will get him in. So the pink wards are actually very defensive right now from Winterfox. Moving up, they're going to be able to get some good clears here. A lot of pink ward coverage over Dragon, so they spent a lot of money invested in this area. Hopefully they can get the Dragon for themselves. That'll be number 2, coming up on 15.5 minutes in the game.
Yeah, and look at how Jarvan has actually matched the Sightstone of Lee Sin and Impaler this time around. Not only has he started matching Shorter Race's movements, and actually he was the one who got to pull off counter ganks after the first one went awry, but he's also matching that vision.
He has to throw down Dominus, so that means he's going to stay for the fight. Chris should be able to heal up through this once Transcend comes up. Flares, making sure he gets his bar back as well. From that Dominus being on it, will charge up every so often, and now the fight's going down towards Dragon. Teleports are up for Flares. He's gonna almost win the fight, so he may be able to come down and help on this one, but the team is backing off. Coast is able to get the advantage here, and they're gonna be able to take Dragon number 1.
Yeah, Pobelter goes down, and I think it's gonna be number 2 for them. Stack that. Oh no, Tristana was the one with the first one. So one Dragon each here for these teams. Looks like Team Coast here. Things definitely going to go their way once again. Chris did escape that duel up top as well. So once again, it's Jez is actually chunking out the jungler to start it off. Ooh. Gets his flash as well. And then it made Pobelter commit with a W, actually. So then there's nowhere for him to go, and he gets caught as well.
Wow, what a scattered fight. Coast all over that one. That's done.
Really got to give a lot of props to Jez's here in the mid lane, creating a lot of pressure for the team. Now, he wasn't
kind of the man on the wing we're not seeing, but you're seeing the effect he's putting on the game.
Putting a lot of, making Winterfox use a lot of resources.
Yeah.
Not grabbing the killing blows at the beginning, but he did force the issue.
So Pobelter not getting as much help in mid as he did last game. They figured that one's just going to be Jesus playing it safe in the back of his lane, as he did. 145 to 150, but he's won at 0-1. So he's got some money to spend right now.
And remember what we said in Champion Select here. The double Trinity Force timing for Coast is really strong. They can then group up and shove, use this poke that they have to beat down Winterfox. Winterfox with fairly squishy guys. They still have an opportunity to try and pick somebody off, though, because Coast have not grouped up yet. Not going for the poke quite yet. Double Trinity Force have been completed, though. That may be the signal.
Right, that just came out for Chris, so they may start to initiate what they were looking for coming into this game. Start to ball up and figure out where they can get these poke hits onto Winterfox. They themselves still focusing down towards his bottom lane. It's like they want to keep Altec protected, which is a good idea. You get that late game Trist going to be able to carry a little bit of a rotation from Pobelter, but it looks like he only went halfway down. Now he's going aggressive on Jazz in the mid lane. So a lot of action all around the map. Going to have to focus on his top lane right now for Chris. He's getting it pushed up, so we won't get help from him.
Nami wave down in the bottom lane, but Shorter Ace is looking to take advantage of the tower bait. Not going to be surprised, though. Impaler joins the team for a easy cleanup of that bottom turret. Seeing Shorter Ace once again. Impaler has really, after the opening moments, he recovered really well, and he's just been all over this jungle. Definitely much ahead of Shorter Ace.
Shorter Ace stayed true to trying to make plays, and I think Impaler came into this game knowing he would have to make a few of his own. Trying to get Sheep taken out. They're going to give this one over to Mashme, most likely. Let's see what they can get finished out into fights here. Jez is still pushing up into mid lane. We'll have Winterfox going to back. Maybe an Infinity Edge finally finished up here for Tristana, sitting on 1,600 gold, so that will be Shorter Ace getting caught out. The Cataclysm goes down, but Sheep's the one to get it.
Janna comes up big. They try and jump on Sheep, and he's the one who actually gets the turn on Shorter Ace. That is going to be an easy grouping for Coast, and should be an easy turret.
Finding a Janna roaming is not always the one you can kill. A lot of aggression just to save the turret, but they might lose their lives and the turret on this. The Buster Shot comes out for the quick reset. Altec says King Me jumps back out on this one, and he will be able to start hitting some shots from the outside. Only a level 10 Tristana, however. Not very long range on that draw of bead passive. Altec taking more shots as they clean up one more. Jez is getting a snipe out that he was looking for, and that was even after Altec had used all summoners to stay alive. Fight's going in favor of Coast here as they break down towards the mid lane.
Not only do Coast have a lot of painful poke with this squad, but they got a pick right before that happened as well. So easy move that for them. Just gained a really big foothold in this game. And that should be enough for them to set up some deeper vision as well.
This is kind of what we were talking about earlier, like the turret's going to go down, we could make a move now. No, don't.
Yeah, I mean,
Flares was so far away.
The thing we're talking about where people don't want to give up those turrets is kind of the same thing that con artists use to get a lot extra money out of their marks.
Oh.
Yeah, first they get you to commit a small amount of your resources, your time or your money,
Which
to the scheme.
A few spells.
Yes, and so once you've committed a little bit, you're much more willing to commit a lot more money and a lot more time to save your initial investment. It's just natural human behavioral tendencies that they can prey on. And same thing exists in League of Legends. Once somebody's died, Shorter Ace is dead. Oh no, we don't want to give up our turret also. So they try and defend it. Pobelter goes in for some pokes. He gets knocked up. And
I always found that logic to be really
everything.
funny. It's like, we're 1 down. We've been losing the fights. That's 4v5. It happens.
Coast
just get headstrong.
Coast the con artist.
Hey, man, sometimes it wins. Sometimes you win the con. You come out big. 30 seconds on Dragon. The priority of Coast warding up in that area. It should be theirs. It would be difficult. Winterfox to get in position for this one. Not too difficult, but you're going to need more than half HP to make the fight happen here. Mashme taking advantage of his poke once again. And that Triforce being finished now with a BF sword. Sork boots for him, so that poke hurts even more.
Pobelter still looking for some fights.
Yeah.
Impaler's quite beefy right now, though. He's finished the Magic Resist Aura. Age is already done for Coast. Now when they group up, it is going to be ridiculously hard to crack in. So Winterfox, they really are looking for that pick. They want to split up this team. They want to try and split push. Try and keep the map spread out. But Coast, another Dragon secured. And everybody's swinging down towards the bottom lane here to pick up the last outer. It's already dead. They're looking for a secondary.
Yep. It's going to be quite easy for them to take. I don't think it's going to be just or it will be just Altec. I don't think he's going to be able to stop this by himself. The wave coming up. They have Jezzes to poke anybody off as well. And you can see reacting now, a little too late. Everybody was already backing. Now they're trying to get here. The fact that they will go in is still a possibility. This is Winterfox we're talking about. It looks like they will just hold off. Let the turret go down. They will not contest. And now we actually have Chris up in the top lane by himself with flares walking down. So he can get back to stop this. But they could try to get a pincer fight they want here. Nope. It's going to be Shorter Ace going back. I don't know. They're communicating, but not on the same page right now.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Lance.
Trying to get a fight for themselves. Coast actually walked back into this one. I don't think it's exactly what they wanted. Now they have a nice kite back. It's now on their terms. A little messy there for a second. Mashme picks up the kill. Chris finally comes down from the top lane here. Remember, no teleports have been used. Flares is down, so he can't approach the fight again. And Altec is forced to rocket jump away. Nice little snipe there by Mash. Now finalizing the kill though. Oh, gets himself out. He tries to back in the middle of the map. And he really is baiting the rest of Winterfox in for more kills. A double kill now for Chris, and Coast cleaned up the map. Pretty much playing a ring around the rosy with Winterfox.
Well, they took down Impaler. They can take Solas and the jungler's life at least. Winterfox, all shouting worth it at this point. 14-3, really, really steep comeback for them. Probably not in the cards. As we said, this Coast team is much, much stronger at sieging up, so they have a very clear path to end this game. And it doesn't take a lot more moves for them to actually execute that game plan. We do run into that point, though, especially on this new map, where it's a lot harder to crack into the base. You know, they've got base gates now, they've got stronger turrets. A lot harder to end the game really early. So we may see Coast playing a little bit safer, just control the rest of the Dragons for a bit until they really feel secure about taking down inhibitor turrets. This fight, though, players, you can only dodge so many skill shots, and then there's a Corki right next to him, so they get picked up. Altec gets stunned right before the jump, but able to get out anyway as Glebe goes down instead.
A lot of inventories are hurting right now on Winterfox. You see items on items here. Eternity Force and Infinity Edge versus the Infinity Edge and a Static Shiv. It's still good damage, but you're going to get that burst out of Corki right now, and Altec is still trying to build himself up. The early game didn't continue for him in a consistent way. He got that first kill, which was going to be fantastic, and then it kind of slowed down. Glebe also not able to make as many plays as he did on Annie, so we see that dynamic hurting Winterfox a little bit more. They don't have every champion being an all-in champion. They're kind of playing on the back foot. And
they were
style they like.
Unable to feed extra money into Pobelter to get their #1 playmaker ahead. And now they are slowly crawling behind further and further to the team play from Coast. led by Impaler, who's done a really strong job, by the way, I think, this game jungling.
A lot of people expected him to come out as a pretty big jungler. Expansion tournament, he showed really well.
He was a big part getting them into the LCS.
Things look grim, and Impaler was there. He is right now 2-3-10. Lock it on him as well. The Iron Solari all finished up. The Aegis on Glebe as he's trying to hit that mark as well. Zanya's for Jez's, so he's pretty much safe from the dive if they actually try to go on him. It's going to be harder for Winterfox now to get these assassinations that they want or anything.
It does look like Coast do not have a game plan for ending, though. They're like, okay, we took all the turrets outside of the inhibitor line, and now they're all kind of split up, farming different spots. Here we go. Chris down to the bottom to use the teleport. They clear out the Baron, try and set up a Baron bait. They're in perfect position to pick. So all they have to do is wait now. They can play really calmly, pick somebody off, or just wait for Chris to gain some ground. Looks like they are going to give up on the pick, but it really didn't cost them anything because Chris is now in position, and if they go send more people towards Chris, then Coast can take the Baron.
That's not good, Kobe. You see Flares down to half health, and Chris didn't even really take a bit. He was tickled by Flares' damage. So this is going to be tough. Flares now has to fend for himself while also saying, guys, I need help. We're going to lose an inhibitor versus that 4v4 fight. So not looking good for Winterfox.
Chris is massive right now. He's got 6 more kills to his name.
Right onto Glebe. That's going to be the disengage tsunami already going out. So it means they can get into where they need the flash. Will he Zanya's? He doesn't get a chance to Zanya's on this one. They obliterate Jez's. He's out for 40 seconds. This is how big Chris is, but blown back over the wall. Altec gets 1 more second to breathe on this one. Flair is trying to provide him with the Iron Lung, giving them body block. Altec now to turn around, kite the fight. Mashme's doing damage, but it's a shorter ace, and the little tank that he has kept him alive for the time being. Coast still comes up after a very chaotic fight on top.
All right. Now, do they actually have the confidence to go for this? Chris did take quite a few hits in that fight. Double pink wards, though. Looks like they do have the confidence. This could be a turnaround. They're fairly low. I don't know how much burst Winterfox can actually pull out, though. Flares is at full life.
Dominus is halfway through its cooldown, so he's going in with just regular abilities. Altec knows he's going to be too close and has to jump out. He gets the speed up from Glebe passive. Baron is going to be down to at least 600 HP. That's going to Impaler. Almost no chance for the 50-50 steal without another smite. And that means they are going to be making their way back to the base safely with Baron. Now it becomes even a greater push for Chris by himself in the side lanes. It's only getting harder here for Winterfox, day 2.
I feel bad about saying this, but they gave Sheep as the sacrificial lamb to Baron in order to gain it.
I get that, Reverend.
I feel really bad about it. All right, Dragon traded here over for Winterfox, though. At least they get a consolation prize.
Let's see. What do we have? Is that 16? I believe it is 16. No, it's 6. Can't see it. The Magi's page made it look like a 1. He only has 6.
Everything is right in the world. They just told me over comms. Freak is a giant smile on his face.
I was actually going to mention that. I was like, if you're disappointed, Freak's got to be happy, because that's how that works in his fun world.
Yeah, he's infected us all. All right, now that they have Baron, though, this has got to be really clear for Coast. Shove right up the mid. End game coming here. Winterfox, this is your time to shine. Pobelter, he's going to have to pull off some crazy moves to pull this one out. But we'll see if he can pick somebody off, maybe in the back line. They're going to use the gate. Here we go. Showcase the gates for us, Winterfox. Showcase the massive comeback potential of a side gate. It's not really there. They can kill a ward. Nice.
Whoosh, through the gate. He's back in. So they're actually putting themselves together here, not trying to go for the outside. I don't think it's because they fear a full 5v5 fight, but I think they can just take one fight and win the game, maybe.
Really? Yeah. Chris and the rest of Coast, all they have to do, even if they just kill a couple people, they could probably end the game off it. So Winterfox, they're really careful right now. They're going to have to try and use some sneaky tactics, try and hit them hard and then back out. When fighting against a Baron team nowadays, you try and poke them because they don't have the regeneration.
Whoa! Okay. That was actually pretty sweet. Both of them flying in different directions.
Here it is.
2 kills coming in for Altec. Can he get the reset one more time? Pobelter's going to dodge out on the stun from Jez's. They got to be careful. They know that Chris could be flanking from the side here, but that
Shorter ace.
look promising. It's not. They're not out of the woods yet, but that was good.
No, they are not. But they did just save their base. So this is one of the reasons why a lot of teams have been taking their time trying to crack into the inhibitor turret line. It's fairly dangerous to go up there. But man, that was actually poorly played by Team Coast. Chris, the super fed member of their team, the front line, the guy right in the trenches, not there. So shorter ace. Great job taking advantage of it. Not only do they pick off the support first, kill Janna is key, but then they take down the supportless AD carry. So who started it off?
Look at this. He kicks her so hard
Pobelter
that he
goes in
flies
first.
backwards.
Pobelter goes in first for the juke, and Shorter Ace goes in right behind him.
Yeah.
What a beautiful combo between Pobelter and Shorter Ace. With the two-man tricks right there, and they take down the bottom lane, buy themselves some time.
We haven't really seen like a Dive Buddies Bash Brothers composition. People aren't used to instantly targeting the one person that's flying in. So when you have two of them, it's chaos.
And LeBlanc is not usually one of the quote-unquote Bash Brothers.
I'll say one of my favorite things I ever did, completely off topic, was ARAM, Ori, LeBlanc, and you port the ball in, and then you just port out. Fantastic.
Shockwave.
Nothing you'll ever see in a pro game because one of those two combined, but it would be pretty damn sweet to see. We're up at 32.5 minutes on this one, 17-6. A bloodbath here for Coast in this game and just about a 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah, the thing is, that last play is probably weighing heavily on Coast.
Yeah.
Remember yesterday, they also had an early lead. They had a gold lead when the game ended and they lost. Here we go, though. They've got to catch on
baby,
Glebe.
that's sushi for dinner. Glebe goes down. That's a quick kill coming in from Mash. That wasn't even half a second they needed to take him down, and they got the exhaust out. So here, 35 seconds on the clock for these kills. May not be enough for game-ending pushes. They're going to be able to tear this base apart.
Look at this. They really want to dive. No tidal wave available means there's almost no protection for Winterfox against this. Brute force pushing right in.
Yeah. Easy peasy as they make their way past the first inhibitor turret. Eyes on the inhibitor. This should be a back out here. You see the wards going down so they know what their exits can be and what options they have. Chesis just wants the last say. Last laugh for himself. Bottom could be cleared and pushed. Such control here. Yeah, they're taking a little bit of time, but they're finally pushing on it now. A little longer, and Altec could actually get quite big here. He's finally finished up that last whisper.
Hey, man, they've shown some really nice plays, Winterfox.
Yeah?
Trying to come back here. They definitely have a long and arduous journey ahead of them, though.
2-2 on Dragons. A minute and 20 left on that. Just about the same amount of time on Baron. Well, I don't even know if we'll actually see that happen. That's really an option for WFX. Winterfox get back in this one if Coast were to mess it up. Don't want to leave those up to chance. Winterfox with 2 pink wards already on that Baron area so they can start, or rather, I should say Coast does, with control of the map.
And the thing is, Winterfox, they actually don't have to worry about the super early 5 dragons, because they do have 2 dragons themselves. Coast are only sitting on 2, so they don't really... Uh-oh. The whole team is right behind Chris, so it takes a long time to kill Chris, because he's so fed, and then by that time, the whole team of Coast will be there, so... It would have actually turned out fairly poorly for Winterfox if they tried to take down that tanky Aurelia first. So, good thing for Winterfox. They did not pull it there, and they wanted to wait to try and defend at their base once again. This is going to be much harder a defense than last time. Not only because their inhibitor is down, but also because Sheep is going to be expecting it this time. If Shorter Ace is able to pull that off twice, then Coast will have nobody to blame but themselves.
LeBlanc over the wall. Oh, he found one! Who's gonna get kicked? Stunned way too quick. Jezis knew it. Knew they could get in. Maybe if they waited for a wave that he could sit in, but when he was the only one, it was a dead one. They are gonna be backing out of this. It actually thought Coast was gonna go harder on that, but they are being very methodical about this. They're not letting themselves get caught out in these hard-fought situations. This is gonna be another turret because of that patience being a virtue. And they are going to be able to get flares as well. One of the tanks going down does not spell good things when they're already inside your base.
All right, 2 inhibitors down. Complete control here for Coast. Baron is back up, so we'll see how cautious they are. This is a fairly risk-averse team after their first opening. So it looks like they are going to just take a trip back to base, clean up the neutral objectives, and use those super minions as the pressure while they clean up the rest of the map and the neutral objectives, and then return for the final blow.
Dragon Trace going over to Coast. Obviously no contest there. They pretty much own both halves of the court on this one. Let's see this one more time. He tried. Let's see where he gets hit. Did he get stunned on the way in?
Yeah, he was looking to make his way over towards the same target.
He got hit instantly by Chris.
But, you know, Jez's and Chris can both stun him as he's jumping in.
Jez stacked that.
They were all expecting it this time around. So.
I thought at first Jez's actually like just hit that and he jumped into it on accident. But it was Chris. Chris with the quick fingers. Playing a very nice Aurelia top lane. Still yet to die in the North American LCS.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Chris deathless in the North American LCS 2015 season.
Must be that left-handed right configuration.
Got him. Good thing they spent so much time getting him the right mouse.
Glebe takes about 50% of his HP through the middle of his bar there. That's going to be a dead Nami. Glebe goes down first once again. He did use most of his spells to assist the team, but for not, they're still chasing down, and Coast looks like they could possibly end the game here. Flares was pushing in the bottom lane. They have vision of that, so Jez's, the rest of the team, very happy to keep going. And they're right over the gate, and Pillars in base.
Yeah. They've got the keys to that gate. They've got the password. Tank and double turn.
Keys to the city at this point.
All right, so congratulations to Team Coast.
Yeah.
They do make up for yesterday. Clean win. Fairly clean win. They had a couple hiccups.
Something they had to patch up. The whole team seemed to be a little discombobulated after that, and it's good to see that they, as we said before, couldn't put it to the wayside. They didn't let it weigh on their mind. Flares is doing his damnedest right now to sneeze on the entire team.
They're taking
it looks like they're going to be able to hit it.
Die.
Wait a minute. That's going to be the Nexus. It's the Nexus. They're going to get it. They don't have enough power to stop them. That's going to be just about 38 minutes. Actually, 38 on the clock. Coast comes up with a win here on day 2.
They killed Chris at the very end, the last second.
I know. I tried not to look at it.
His death was freeze
Unfortunate
over.
turn of events. Chris does perish for the first time, but it was during a victory, so you got to take the good with the bad, Kobe.
Rest in pepperonis, my friend.
Rest in pepperonis, indeed. One hell of a game, though. Yesterday on Gnar, today on Aurelia. Obviously, the champion pool we see to top lane, but we'll have to see what he has next if people are going to ban those two out against him. He's definitely a huge factor on Coast with the rest of the team. Jez is also, we saw the Riot of the Arcane a lot of times from the Fog of War off the side of the map. We didn't see him much until the mid to end game, but he had such an impact on the control of the map, controlling the lane, and stopping Pole Belter from really his normal and regular roam that controls an entire game.
Yeah, I really did like Jez's play this game, and it's not the flashy play that you get from assassin mid laners. It's the play that you get from people who play a lot of Xerath. People who get that poke damage down, landing full combos on the jungler. You know, you chunk out a jungler and send him back to base enough times, he's going to be under-leveled. He's going to be starving for gold. And then they also were able to pick up objectives off of the couple of moves that he was able to make. Impaler as well, both those European imports performing really well. So good pickups, both of those guys for Team Coast. And the subs as well. Shout out to Shorter Ace and the rest of the guys that subbed in. Very fun time they've had in the North American LCS. Great game yesterday.
Played great, great mentality, smiles on and off of the stage. And they really showed so well yesterday, and we saw a little bit of that today as well. But then it's what comes down to it when you know they're not a full team is the reorganization, trying to react then to being behind. When they're ahead, things can go for anybody when you're ahead. It looks good for the whole team. But coming from behind, now with the subs, we see where there was kind of a misplay between that. But they won't have them next week. It'll be the full team.
Yeah, they'll have a whole batch of new people. That'll be fun.
Coast, I should say now, if you look at the score, it kind of tells the story that they played their comp so well and they were ahead, 25-7. If you're not able to get kills when you have that LeBlanc, when you have a Tristana late game critting people, not even that many assassinations, Coast organized correctly, positioned correctly, and they just came out with a much better win than yesterday. Wasn't able to shake them. We're going to see right now, send it over to Jat for more on Coast win.
Thanks, Riv. And I am here with Impaler, who was a victorious Jarvan 4 in that game. Although we're going to go back just a little bit to yesterday because you guys never had a chance to kind of talk about it. Even before this interview, you're lamenting about that game. How's it feeling on your mind now that you have a victory?
We really should have won yesterday as well. We haven't scrimmed at all since we played because me and Jez has arrived so late. So it was kind of messy. We messed up. But I think we'll find our form soon and there'll be more games like this with decisive wins.
And you're actually saying you're quite tired today. It's because when did you actually get into North America?
I arrived like the night before we played. So I slept and then I just came here and started playing.
Hopefully you can rest up and adjust to the time zone in the next week. But let's talk about this game a little bit in particular. You ended up getting a very fortunate counter gank in the top lane early on in the game. Do you want to talk about if that was dumb luck or if you had some type of foresight for it?
Chris was like he's playing aggressive top so we could kill him, but we didn't actually think Short Race would play that aggressive and try and fight there as well. So we didn't realize he was coming, but we were just going for the kill on Renekton. So it was lucky that he was there as well and we picked up the double, but the single kill should have been fine.
And now that you've been able to get the first win in the LCS as well, how's the team confidence feeling coming back as well from that blunder you guys had yesterday?
Everyone's actually surprisingly confident. I mean, even Chris played really well today. He carried this game alone. So I'm glad to see that everyone can really pull their weight and just, if someone gets a lead, they should be able to carry that game on their back. And this is just an example of that.
All right, well, congratulations again on making the LCS and on your first victory. So best of luck to you in the rest of the season. Let's send it back to the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you, Jet. Definitely a much more decisive victory from Coast.
Yep.
I mean, reminiscent early game of their game yesterday, but they were able to close this one out. And I think that's partially due to the fact that they had a team composition that allowed them to be more decisive in their engages with the Jarvan and the Aurelia. Definitely had a bit more of a front line, and then still had the ability to, to stun up with Xerath and things like that and avoid picks.
Yeah, well, one thing is you've got a comp that does two things really well. This is what I like about having Corki, Janna, Xerath, is you've got this sort of poke pattern you can fall back to, throw out Qs or Rs and solve people up, and you've got this nice holding pattern where progress is made, you don't have to force the issue, which then means when it does look really enticing, you can go and it's probably the right idea. I'm glad that they had these two different ways to play the composition.
Yeah, it's kind of a fallback too, because in case Aurelia gets shut down, even though she wasn't this game, they played really well around that and got him fed, you still have a ton of wave clear and siege, so that Aurelia will hit those item breakpoints and scale over Renekton.
I do have to give a lot of props to Chris. It was mentioned that he hadn't died yet in the split until the very end. Yeah, exactly. As soon as it was mentioned, he dies at the last minute there. But fantastic play out of him and synergy with Impaler. That's great to see that, coming over from EU, they're still able to, build that synergy so quickly.
Right, I mean, they'd been playing together throughout the expansion tournament. This is a lineup we'd seen for a while, so they had some time off. It's not like the Team Impulse thing where it's literally the first games they're ever playing together, but certainly there's going to be some rust. Hey, they did a pretty good job, so good for that.
Yeah, they hadn't been scrimming lately because of the visa things and coming over. But I do have to say, Impaler played really well yesterday and today in terms of his gank timings and his individual skill. Shot calling, maybe yesterday he was really tired. Today, also kind of, you could see he was very sluggish to just kind of drag it out, being like, we are in the lead, let's just sit here in the driver's seat, we can go 10 miles per hour, but we're still going to get there.
Yeah, so now let's jump over to the other side of the rift. Let's look at Winterfox there. Definitely today a lot more of the sub-squad tendencies. What we would expect out of a sub-roster. Some more solo QS type plays and things.
Well, that's the thing, is they're making all these high-risk plays, and sometimes when you go for the 50-50, you're a winner fox, sometimes you're a loser fox. It just depends on who's there and how aggressive you played. Flares honestly really looked very odd that game. He had played a really controlled game one yesterday. Here, he ults under the turret to take two turret shots and walk away, and then is sitting at the front of turret range I can hit you almost, but he's at half HP the entire time. If a counter gank shows up, you're gonna lose. Let the lane push back out to you. Make Aurelia walk up, because she literally cannot see us from range. Make her walk in range of a Lee Sin Q. Actually bait the gank out. A bit over-aggressive for that kind of play, and that's what happens. They beat Gravity because, all the ganks worked out. All the roams worked out. Great, a 4,000 gold, let's win the game. Well, these ones didn't work out. Well, welcome to what that looks like.
Yeah, and Chris also still had Flash at that time, so he was extremely safe, and he was able to hold on to it even through that gank. I really feel like Flares was playing way too aggressive against the Aurelia, trying to push that lead as Renekton without proper ward coverage around the sides. You can walk up, use all that pressure, and then just pop one into the tri-brush, make sure somebody isn't coming. But it was good on Impaler to play to the aggressive lanes. And it's something that I know he was talking about in an interview that I saw with him, where he was talking about this season is not so much just going and kind of ganking lanes all the time from the side. It's more of playing to your aggressive lanes, or if your lane is pushed all the way up, you sit in the brush and you wait for the counter gank and kind of read it beforehand. So it's not so much forcing the issue.
I do have to say, though, that I appreciate the aggressiveness from the sub squad on Winterfox. You know, although, as you stated, Freak, unfortunately, they didn't all work out this time. And then, therefore, you put yourself in a hole as a team that doesn't necessarily have, you know, the synergy or the, you know, the time spent with each other to operate in a losing scenario.
Right.
But I do have to say, I love the fact that they had a great counter gank bottom. You know, Impaler even said we weren't expecting Shorter Ace to play that aggressively in the top lane. They had a slight misplay there, and that is what cost them the double kill. But it very well could have turned out in their favor there.
Well, this is the age-old adage for teams that are barely scraping together. Team Impulse played their pick and ban this way both today and yesterday. Hey, go try to win your lanes. This was the direction that Winterfox had. This is what Deficia was talking about with Meet Your Makers back in Game 1, where it's like, well, we have a new mid laner as of yesterday, and we're facing SK. This is going to be rough. You're not going to win the 35-minute rotational game. It's just so unlikely it's going to happen. So you play the 60-40 aggressive early game and say, well, 40% chance we win this game if all our stuff works out, because that's our best chance of winning. And you know, that coin flip worked in Game 1. It didn't work here.
I want to touch on the analogy that Kobe brought up in game, which was that of the con artist. I thought it was great. So we have a replay to illustrate this, which is what he was talking about in the mid lane tier 2 turret. And Freak, I'm going to let you take it away. We'll discuss afterwards.
Okay, so let's pull the replay up on your screen, and it's the unfortunate thing. It's the solo queue mentality. Of course, it's Winterfox doing this. Pobelter is trying so hard to keep the team alive. You can see in the bottom corner that they have a deadly sin on the roster. This is a turret that Coast is getting whether Winterfox likes it or not. And Winterfox can choose to give away some kills on top of this, or they can choose to give away the turret and wait around. So roll the clip out, and it's a bunch of heroics. Pobelter is going to go for a wave clear. He can almost get Mad Life by the stun. It unfortunately slightly misses. Glebe shows up. They try again. Oh, look, a knock-up chain. Oh, look, Pobelter got one shot. He's down to 1/3 health. He has to burn flash and heal, but Chris kills him anyway. And they can chase Impaler, and they can get one kill back. But you can't expect to go positive in a fight like this. The turret's already too low. They're ahead of you in gold. It's the standard lemming mentality of, but we don't want to give them that turret for free. But your options are a turret plus 3 kills or just a turret.
Hey, and they end up blowing pretty much every summoner spell across the board on the team as well. So when you look at then future fights, you're setting yourself even further behind in your ability to maybe make a pick and get yourself back into the game. And so what I want to kind of look at more closely is, you know, from a team perspective, from a shot calling perspective, we need where is the line drawn in which you say we need to give these things up because we are making this game unwinnable?
Yeah, it's purely a point of game theory. Now, Aiden, you know that I like to contest for dragons that I shouldn't be, but in general, basically, it just honestly comes down to game theory and thinking quickly. So it's like, okay, games with a 4,000 gold deficit are hard to win. Games with a 5,000 gold deficit are even harder to win. And that's an example of look, there's no way you win this fight. There's no upside to defending this turret. You just have to be another 1,000 gold behind. I'm sorry that sucks for you guys. I'm sorry that Lee Sin got picked. But that is the eventuality, the inevitability of that first pick happening. You can't fix that. You've just gone down another 1,000 gold. Okay, now play from a 4,000 gold deficit. And that's just the decision you have to realize, that this is not a winnable fight. Yep, you have to give it something else, but then play from that disadvantage.
Yeah, the way I found is you basically look at what they're getting and you go, I don't care that they have that. We have this going for us. I don't care that they're going to get 5% movement speed from Dragon. We have Baron ticking and 4 people there to contest the Dragon. We want 5 there. It's not a good play to make because what we're giving up isn't that much. We could trickle in, and then it'd be completely out of hand, and then you gave up 3 Baron buffs on you, you gave up 3 kills, then you lose turrets. So just kind of seeing the consequences of your actions before they unfold.
And that's where we see the biggest differences between those veterans and the novice players rather here in the LCS. And will these novice teams be able to pick up that? Is that something that can be learned?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm. Okay. Yes,
Great, we answered your question. Move on.
I also believe it can be learned. Is it something that can be learned over the course of a singular split? At what point? How far down this road do you have to go? Is this something that you need a coach to sit there and remind you of after every game? Oh, let me point this out. This is an instance in which you gave up something more than you needed to. You needed to accept defeat here and make your move somewhere else. You needed to pivot as Irene says, into another positive? Or is it something that you just have to basically get like you have to build your own innate sense of like, yeah, game awareness where, all right, that is not a net positive for me. If anything, it's a net negative. Let's move elsewhere.
Play the game, figure out what everything is worth, have somebody call you on your mistakes, and also, it doesn't have to be a coach all the time. Your players in-game, your teammates with you, can go ahead and check you. I think that's kind of like the best shot calling is when there's a shot caller who has like almost the decisive call, but then somebody feeding him information and kind of checking him, being like, that's not a good call, rethink it.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sorry, finish your point.
No, go ahead.
It's exactly what Team Liquid does. It's exactly what I Will Dominate said. The coach comes to him and he says, Dominate, you are the main shot caller. You're the guy who makes all these calls, but everyone else feed information, call you on stuff. If you miss something, fix it, right? You know, everyone else, especially, pay attention. Call him on things when he's like, oh no, we don't have flashes, don't do this. You're right, sorry. Exactly the way you should be running a team. I think that is exactly perfect. Team Liquid is like suddenly my new favorite team in the NALCS because I think they are so well set up for success on all these different fronts.
Yeah, because you don't always know what summoner spells are available. Like if the support's the shot caller, he's going to be like, don't have smite, don't have flash, can't contest, like things like that. Feeding the information is very, very important. And if you're silent, they're going to have to play off instinct, and you don't always know the ultimate timers. If somebody has ulti in 10, call it and then be like, all right, we can hold off for 5 seconds before we engage, and then we can start moving towards them and then really start it.
The question then is when Winterfox gets their full roster along with their coach, because they're operating without the coach in the country at the moment too, will they be able to patch up those, those kind of holes in the ship as quickly as they need to in order to move up the standings? Now back over to Coast though, looking at the fact that they played rather well yesterday, but then struggled in their late game shot calling, played rather well today. However, we do have to have the caveat of probably not against the strongest of teams in the NALCS based on what we've seen so far. Sure. How do we believe they're going to stack up against the likes of TSM, Cloud9, even though they had that loss yesterday, probably still considered one of the top teams, Team Liquid, things like that?
Yeah, I think it is a tough road for Coast, right? They came in as the last team to qualify for the LCS. They didn't win in the promotion tournament. They were the second team under now Gravity in the expansion tournament. You expect them to be underdogs coming into the beginning. Now we see some teams make really big rises. I think Cursed Team Liquid is my big example where I think they're going to be much better this split than before. And it's not because they made huge roster changes. Okay, they have Piglet, but like even without Piglet, I think they're still doing really well. They won a game already, and they're, I think, again, well set up to improve. If Coast can just figure out what improvement looks like, how you improve as a team, how to improve their players specifically, you hear people like Pobalter saying, yeah, once I started playing with Helios, he helped me fix all my mistakes and I became a better player. All this kind of growth can happen with the right teammates and the right staff.
Yeah, definitely a step in the right direction for Team Coast. We are going to take a break while Team Liquid and Counterlogic Gaming take to the stage for our third match of the day. So keep it tuned right here.
Tracking beacon right now on Impaler.
Whoa, flares!
Oh, what? A lot of aggression just to save the turret, but they might lose their lives and the turret on this. The Buster shot comes out for the quick reset.
Nami. She flashed. I can go. I'm on Nami. Okay. Stun Tris. Okay, good job.
He doesn't get a chance to Zanya's on this one. They obliterate Jez's. He's out for 40 seconds. This is how big Chris is.
Congratulations to Team Coast. They do make up for yesterday.